Welcome to the Dr.Z NFT podcast with your host Waxwars and award-winning artist Matt Gaser, and we got our buddy Gordon's here with us as well.
Yeah,
Yay.
What's up? Happy to be here. Great to have Gordon.
Yeah,
good times. We've been having some tons of meetings this morning with our game developers and the team, our team at Fabricated Madness that we're creating all the 3D assets for the 3D exploration game. And guys, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
Yeah, great meeting today. We brought on our new hire, Adrian Hebel. He's out of Scotland, like Gordon. We found him through Gordon, so we're very thankful. He's kind of our Swiss Army knife / 3D artist / HR / everything podcaster.
Everyone's a Swiss Army knife at this stage. We all wear lots of hats.
I'm payroll, creative director, artist. We all have our hats. Yeah, but it was really cool. We brought on Rusty, Gordon, everyone involved in the 3D production of our adventure game, and everyone in that meeting was also a part of the card game. And it was a lot of fun. We talked a lot about how we want to create the pipeline. Adrian's getting us on GitHub.com, so we have an asset builder application, and he's going to be driving everything over to Unity, and we're going to get off to the races here. Rolf, you're creating company emails for everyone. We're going to get on Google One and make sure we have everything backed up. And so it's just like everything's clicking together on that front. It's really cool. Yeah, we had a great meeting last week with our first venture capitalist interest. You want to talk a little bit about that, Rolf?
Yeah, we met up with the Crosscut Ventures people, it was a productive meeting, just letting them know what we're doing. And they're kind of like a perfect sort of fit for what we are, because they sort of help people at the beginning stages of stuff. So we're kind of maybe unusual that we've been able to finance this thing ourselves with the help of you guys, the fans, and your NFT purchases. So it's a little different than other companies that have no revenue at all, and they're just all they have is an idea. So at least we can show them that we've executed something and created some revenue, and we're creating weekly revenue with everyone purchasing the battle cards. And thank you guys so much for the support. And so we can show and just keep moving up and able to produce more content to share with you guys. And just even having the meeting with the game developer today, this was after the meeting with Gordon earlier. It's so nice to see the progress as it happens. So
yeah,
can't wait to share it with everybody.
We got to meet the sort of game manager beyond our lead, Josh Rose, who is taking all of our cards and just really creating a good roadmap for game design. And over the coming weeks, we're going to really dial that in and create subcategories with all the cards that we've already created and that we've launched. He basically confirmed with us and made us feel good that the cards that we're releasing are totally usable and easy to figure out in terms of the gameplay models. But he has plans for like great changes on the website to like help tell people, hey, if you already have these two cards and you haven't gotten this card, you should, because if you combine all three, it will do this or that. So a lot of graphic design on the website, informing people on their collections and how they can use them, and then also how they can add new cards to make things even better as part of what he talked about today. Plus, a massive structure was overlaid to Rolf and I about the overall cost to do a high-end game versus a low-end game, medium game, and so we can really see for the first time why we need venture capital, or if we can just somehow get our sales to go through the roof, we could achieve these certain goals. And so the plan is to just make sure that everyone that's following us and collecting our cards is involved through either the website, these podcasts, and they're just notified every step of the way with every single announcement drop that we're planning to do over the next couple months to 3 to 4 months. So
Yeah,
Uh,
so basically, there's going to be this whole interface where you can mess around with the different skins of the cards. We're calling them decorations, but it's almost like a skin where there'll be an interface where you can see all the possibilities where you can add these different functions to your card in the game, which will be purchasable. And but you'll be able to see all that. You'll be able to kind of mess around and see how you want to make your card look in the game. Uh, it's
and
it's going to be really cool to see that.
I believe that function is going to come online before the game's even launched, so people can start customizing their games with their satchels, card frames, and getting them ready for the game before the game actually launches. Correct? Was that? I think that
Yeah,
was the plan.
so I mean, it's all going to be people getting to mess around with what we have as soon as it's ready. So even when the game is not completely functional, we'll have parts of the game that people can mess around with and give us their feedback on what they like, what they don't like. And that's kind of how it is. Everyone's going to get to test it out, and even our early adopters will be, rewarded with getting to kind of test out the game before anyone else
Yeah,
does.
yeah, that's really
So
cool.
yeah, so last
Yeah,
week, was a good week. We launched the Caden Dart pistol with Caden darts. That was our drop on Friday, so we didn't really have a chance that we haven't talked about that yet in a podcast. And it's features again Matt's amazing art
Yep.
and one of the tools that Dr. Zammsy uses out in the field with the unruly type of giants and half giants that, or just actually any sort of character out there that might have gone mad or has some kind of affliction where they need a dart shot at them for some reason.
yeah. Instead of like something that goes directly to the skin from the actual tool, if someone's just sitting there, what if you have a patient that's running from you and it's a matter of tranquilizing them or putting some kind of serum inside of them to get the medication across if you have to chase them down. So we tell that story in the back of the card last week, and that was a lot of fun. Just
Yeah,
another.
right. So 2 Fridays ago, we had a jet injector where you actually have to be in contact with the skin, and then this week was the dart pistol for when somebody gets away from you, or maybe they just don't want the treatment that they need, um,
Yeah,
or they don't know that they need it, and Dr. Zamzi has to get into action and somehow catch up with the monster or the giant that has just, instead of them
on
just
road.
destroying the entire town, he's able to sedate them and get them the help they need.
Yeah,
Uh,
get them back to
get
normal.
back
Yeah,
to normal, back to
yeah.
normal.
So yeah, a
Uh,
lot happening. We had another great meeting with our writer last week. We meet with him once a week as well now, and he laid out the 10 episode treatment that he kind of got started on. We got to actually see it and read it with him for the first time, and it was really
yeah,
amazing. All the points that he extrapolated from Rolf and I, all the groundwork we've laid down in terms of the lore and the world and the story points, and he crafted it in a way that made the story even better. And it was just a constant mode of yes, let's do that, yes, yes.
it's
Um,
great to have a third person's perspective because we've been creating this since January. Just this very vast amount of lore on the backs of all the cards and different places, different character names, types of gadgets, and then to have a third person sort of pull those pieces together and make it into a more refined document. It even inspired us. Just seeing that kind of like triggered some other inspiration into how the story can be just even better for everyone.
and we were really excited to hear that Matt also was in touch with the investors that fund the animation studio, Lakeside Animation out of Toronto. They're out of Russia. They came to the States to visit the studio, and when Matt had a lunch meeting with them, he kind of gave them a quick, lunch pitch and showed them some art, and they were like, "Oh my God, when is the pitch going to be done?" So they're like already super stoked about potentially investing in us. So that's really cool.
Nice. So one of the main things I wanted to talk about today was because I ordered this, I think back in May or something, or April, was this revised and expanded edition of our friend Ian McCaig, his art book, Shadowline. So I kind of asked everybody to grab one of their favorite art books today because we wanted to, talk about art books in general, because I didn't even really know about. I mean, there's old hat for Matt Gaser, but these art books are just these highly detailed, just displays of the work of an artist. And so we're going to get into everybody kind of sharing their favorite. But if you go on our Discord, we've created a merch channel where shortly there'll be links to where you can actually purchase Matt Gaser's art book. This is actually his special edition version. And we'll also have some links on there for people to buy t-shirts. Like I'm wearing a t-shirt right now with this Deidre. Really cool t-shirts. And if anybody has like their favorite t-shirt maker or another merch store that's better, please give us suggestions. But we're just doing the best we can with these. Shirts are made on demand. And then Matt Gaser's store just has some really cool collectibles that anybody can purchase. And so this special edition has his art book in here with a special sticker and some other extras. But if anybody gets this art book, they're going to notice a lot of stuff that you're going to recognize it in our cards, because when we were first starting, we would just pull from Matt's amazing collection of art to inspire the characters in the Dr. Zammsy world, because it was kind of a limited thing, Dr. Zammsy, but we realized that it needed to expand, and Matt just had these amazing paintings that fit really well into the world. So
I think a perfect example of that is the internet. We were trying to figure out what the internet should look like, and you actually found this space guy with a big helmet in this liquid on the pages of that art book, and you're like, what if it's this guy? And I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah.
I just opened it up, and there it is right there. So here's the internet and Dr. Vagnus Zeal.
Yeah.
So if people, we're going to make some more Dr. Zammsy art books coming soon. But for now, you can still purchase Matt's art book you're just going to love it, because every page is filled with Matt's art. So you're going to love it.
And to be honest, I hold all the copies in my garage, and I've been selling that art book specifically for about 4 or 5 years now. And it's getting down to, I think I only have 600 copies left. So I'm not quite sure if I'll ever do, or how long it would take to even do a second run on those. So yeah, if you pick them up, you're going to collect a book that could potentially go out of print. So,
and so yeah, Matt, what was one of your favorite art books?
Well, I wanted to show a book. I know that people are only listening to this on the audio podcast, but if you're seeing it in the video podcast, here's the cover. It's called Visions of the Future by Robert McCall. And this is a book that heavily influenced me as a child. I got it at Christmas time. There was a bookstore in the local town that I grew up in called J.J. Perry's / comic book store and bookstore. And I would always go in there with my mom, and we'd look at different books, and then obviously she would buy them behind my back and save them for Christmas. But the reason why I like this book is because Robert McCall was kind of like one of the first concept artists that got involved in the production of movies. Like he did concept art for The Black Hole. This is some images that he did from like the space station. And he was a futurist. I mean, he has incredible visions of what the future could look like, what cities could look like. And he was really into just surface material, making things really metallic and reflective. And he also was a muralist as well. He did a lot of murals around NASA in their buildings. And check it out. It's out of print, but I'm sure you could find something on the secondary market somewhere. Robert McCall, Visions of the Future. He also did concept art for Star Trek: The Motion Picture too, and all that artwork's in the book.
Is he kind of like a Sid Mead kind of thing?
Yeah, but very different. He was kind of like Ralph McQuarrie. He was started out as being an aeronautical space illustrator, and then got into concept art, kind of like Ralph McQuarrie. And then the last book I was just going to show you really quick is I have a rare copy of Treasure Planet. Funny story, I was at a conference called CTN, and I met one of the artists in here, Michael Schooner. He was at the event, and I was like, oh my gosh, when I met him and I recognized his name, I shook his hand. I was like, you worked on Treasure Planet. I have your art book. He's like, can I buy it off you? I don't even have that book. And I said, no, sorry, bud. And if it was here, I would probably pay you to sign it.
Sign it, yeah.
But if you look at the style of that show, he did a lot of the sketches and designs of the floating pirate ships docking and stuff. He was pivotal in that concept art and design work.
Love that film. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and I love their approach of 70-30, old versus new tech. They had a great system of structuring that. Something we should probably take note of for ours as well, since we're blending Harry Potter with Star Wars, 70-30 vibes.
Yeah.
What about you, Gordon?
Just one of them just now. Yeah, just let's see. I mean, one that I picked out, which was like pivotal on me, like leaving my job, also because when I left initially, I was wanting to do more comic stuff than concept, because that was the closest thing I knew illustration wise that you could do as a job. So it was Jim Lee's Icons, which is his whole like book on like his process of drawing and sketching superheroes for the last 30 years or something.
Hero.
He's a man.
Yeah. Jim's a dude. Like, just some of his, I mean, like some of the illustrations he's done, there's like black and white versions of these, but there's like just pages and pages of just drawings, and the detail is stuff that like blows your mind.
I couldn't imagine another book that. I mean, Jim Lee is like my all-time childhood idol of all time.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't get. I mean, the Batman stuff. Well, I mean, also because I'm a Batman fan, right? And then he kind of during the whole Hush period, and kind of when he came back from Image, had that whole thing of like reinventing the superhero for comic books, where they had this. They were super muscly. There was loads of. Because he came from a medical illustration background, so he had so much more anatomy knowledge than the guys in the 60s and 70s, like Jack Kirby and stuff. So, yeah, that's one for me.
My all-time favorite comic, because I was a just crazy comic kid. Like, I would find change on the street, like collect dimes and stuff, just so I could go. And as soon as I had like $1.25 or $2.25 or whatever, I'd go buy a comic.
Yeah.
And my favorite series of all time is called The Punisher War Journal. And I mean, it's freaking awesome. I mean, Jim Lee drew that, and just the story too. Even when this Black Widow movie came out, I was like, one of the coolest stories ever was in the Punisher War Journal, when like the Punisher and the Black Widow are teaming up to do something.
Yeah,
and cool. That'd make a cool movie. But so Jim Lee was friends with my local comic book shop owner called Flying Colors Comics in Concord, California. And so he would come by once or twice a year and do like a comic book signing, and it was for charity or whatever. So this was when I was in about 7th or 8th grade. So like in the 90s, we would just all line up and Jim Lee would sign our comics, so I have a few of his signatures on a few of my comic books or whatever. And
that's fantastic.
Those were super good times, cool. Man. So that's really cool, Jim Lee.
Yeah, art books, for me, I collected them ever since college, even when I was in high school and whatnot, but I didn't really seriously get into it until after college. And I didn't realize that 20 years later, a lot of these books would be out of print and be worth a ton of money. My friend, Ian Morris, he did the layout for my art book. He does a lot of layout for art of books to animated films. And he said, you should look up the values of these things because they're crazy. Like some of the books I have are worth, $500 to $800 just because they're so valuable and sought after. And when you buy them in a bookstore back in the day at Borders or Barnes and Nobles, everyone buys them off Amazon now. But you had no idea that, these things that you're just collecting for reference for your own work would eventually be worth something. It's pretty funny.
Yep.
And we got this one, Battle Milk 3, which Matt Gaser's, he's featured as one of the main artists in here. And if people want to see something that's different than Dr. Zammsy, which is something that we've discussed developing into a whole separate franchise, you can kind of get a glimpse of the Oasis property in here in the Battle Milk 3 book, which is on Matt's store as well. So that's
something. Copy there. Yeah.
What was the future? What was the origin behind that again, Matt? Was that not just you and other industry artists got together to make something like a book?
It was the art department at Lucasfilm when we were at Skywalker Ranch. We were really inspired by, I forget the name of it, but there was a series of books that were coming out from other artists that were banding together. And so we wanted to do the same thing.
Right.
At the time, it
The
was the
Skillful
3,000.
Huntsman, was that one of them?
That was one of them. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I forget the other one, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
$3,000 buy-in, and that was going to
Mm-hmm.
be half of our savings at the time. And my wife's like, "No, you're not going to spend $3,000 on a book project with a bunch of your friends." So I couldn't do the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do the second one. The third one,
Mm-hmm.
they got picked up by Design Studio Press, Scott Robertson's book
Right.
studio,
Yeah.
and they invited me to come back on. And at that point, there was no need to bring
The
money into
buy-in.
it because it was already being funded. And yeah, we had basically 1 year to create 12 pages, and they had to tell a story, and we tried to make sure that the stories were all very different from each other. And it was a lot of fun. We met once a month and showed what we've been working on. And what's funny is I kept developing artwork throughout the year. That's why some of my pieces have a lot of detail. A lot of these guys waited till like the last 3 months and just did a fantastic job, but they did it in a matter of 3 months, what took me an entire year. So it was just interesting watching different people's styles of approaching it, but it all turned out really well.
Yeah. Some iconic designs from that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Just
We
in case
actually
anybody
did
wants to.
after we launched Battlemuck 3, we tried to do a Battlemuck art show about 4 or 5 years ago in San Francisco, and we did 3 original pieces for the show, and it was a lot of fun. It didn't go anywhere, but since then we've thought about doing more books, but no one has time. Everyone's running their own company or doing their own thing now, so it's too busy.
I can imagine.
And then, in case nobody's heard of Professor Harkin, we also have this resin toy. It's also on the Matt's. You can get to this store. We're gonna have a link on Discord. It's on mattgaser.com and drzamsy.com. So this is sort of just Matt's first toy that he concepted, and then we're just, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can see my toys behind here. Dr. Zammsy toys are gonna happen. So if you want to get Matt's first toy, it's still available as well.
Very limited. I only have like 75 of them left. There was a run of 200, and each one is signed and numbered. And yeah, a lot of love went into that. That was a Kickstarter project, and it was crazy. I actually had to learn the whole stages of production, from creating a 3D model to getting it 3D printed to creating a test color test on there, shipping it to China, swatches. Working with materials for packaging. It was crazy. It was a little passion project.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to go through that again. It's a lot of work.
So just wanted to talk a couple more news items and pop culture. So one item that I noticed was really cool was Odell Beckham Jr. He's one of the stars of the NFL. He just got transferred over to the Los Angeles Rams. He's going to be taking his entire salary in Bitcoin. So, yeah, so his entire salary, he's due like $4 million or something like that. It's going to be all in Bitcoin. So he's kind of looking forward to that appreciation that cryptocurrency, is coming. So
Nice.
that was really cool. And then we had the season finale for Foundation, which I've been watching Foundation and Dune. And Foundation and Dune are sort of the precursors to Star Wars. So I'm sure when George Lucas was a kid, he read Foundation series, read the Dune series. And so it's been really fun this year to get to see these, Galactic Empire shows that were the precursor to Star Wars. And I thought the Foundation season finale was great. I mean, I can't wait. I'm ready for season 2.
Oh, cool! I'll have to watch that. I was busy this weekend, so to get around to it.
It was pretty exciting last season finale. And I watched Dune again because I think Dune might be off HBO Max. It was only going to be on there for a short time, so I just wanted to watch again. Those battle thopter things are just really.
That's funny. My parents were visiting this weekend and they hadn't seen Dune yet, so we watched it last night and they were totally blown away. My dad loved the dragonfly copter things. He's like, "Whoa, cool!"
Mm-hmm.
It's all about machines.
The director Villanueva, he's had some big, like all his movies so far just kind of blow your mind, like the Blade Runner,
Arrival,
Sicario. I mean, I just bought Sicario the other night because I know that's going to be one I'll always watch. It's just on YouTube. I can just click on it and watch it anytime. But
Nice.
I think he's just got so much attention to detail. Like I watched a breakdown of a scene with him where he done the scene where, I don't know what it is in context, I've never saw Dune yet, but it's where the guy puts his hand in the box, like the dark box. And he broke down that whole scene with like a pen, and but the attention to detail and like everything in that room, like the lighting, the costumes, the veils on the girl's face, like how the box looked, the shape of it, the carvings on the outside. It was like he was talking about things like an artist, but then obviously probably more like a cinematographer. But like just the attention to detail was
Yeah.
mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, that particular scene is like verbatim from the book, because I got
Yeah.
the Audible version of the book where you can listen in your car, and
Mhm.
it's like exactly the same in the book as in the movie.
I have a
The
question
detail is amazing.
actually. As you're reading the book through the audio form, is the pacing on the book similar to the new rendition of Dune as a movie?
Yeah, it's very similar. Like it's shockingly similar. And then if on HBO right now they have the old version of Dune from 1984, which does not do it justice, but it's they just did what they could at that time with rudimentary special effects.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to see the progression. But yeah, the book and the movie definitely it's very
Matched pretty
similar.
well. Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, because
I just
he
wanted to
was
get the
always
book because I can't wait for 2 years to watch part two of the movie. I hadn't read
yeah,
the book before. I'd read Foundation before, but I hadn't read Dune before.
nice. Cool, guys. Well, we
So
probably should wrap this up for this week. We have a lot planned, but this week, if you don't hear much from us on Telegram or Discord, it's because we have a holiday in America called Thanksgiving. So we're either going to be on the road or traveling, but we'll do the best we can. Um, we're working today and tomorrow as strong as we can. We'll pick back up next Monday for sure with a new podcast, but lots in
and
development. Always trying to keep you posted.
and we got the new drop coming on Friday, which you're going to see. It's one of Dr. Zammsy's minions who can fight on his side versus the forces of Vizdidra. So can't wait to share that with
Yeah.
you guys on Friday.
Should have a posting of that by tomorrow, Tuesday on the 23rd. We'll have a final image for that posted on
All right, well,
Telegram and Discord.
thank you guys, and then check out the new merch section on the Discord. And if anybody has questions, please talk to us on Discord, on Telegram, and we look forward to seeing you guys there.
Yeah.
Take care.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.